Fancy intro.
Me too.
KIIS FM presents our Women's Zoom Table, featuring influential women in entertainment and music, local businesswomen, and more. Part of KIIS FM's month-long celebration of women's history. Our Women's Zoom Table starts now.
Now we're live. Wait, what just happened?
We almost started doing the show and it wasn't even live yet, but we're all good.
Hi, ladies.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I love how we all are like leaning into the camera. Do you see me better?
I'm telling you, like the lighting situation, I have an entire wall that's a window. It's so bright in this room. And yet for some reason in this corner, it's always so dark. Like I have 3 ring lights on me right now. And yet it's still just like dark.
When you raised your arm right there, it did something with the light and it made it seem... No, I don't know. Anyways. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Happy History Month, everyone.
Yes, it is Women's History Month, the month of March. Beautiful month, if I do say so myself.
It's the best month ever.
The best month ever.
I feel like we need the mix that you made for your pregnancy announcement right now.
You know, I actually, well, we should introduce all of ourselves. I'm Sisney. This is Tanya, Patty, and Ruby. We're obviously on KIIS FM in Los Angeles, so you hear us in the mornings and throughout the day. And I guess a few weeks ago, I announced that I was pregnant with a girl, and I thought about holding the announcement until Women's History Month, until March, for that reason.
Oh, cute.
But I couldn't hold a secret in anymore. I was like, I just need to let it out. So,
But we're excited and happy for you.
thank you. Thank you.
Very.
You're raising 2 baby girls who are
I
going
know.
to change the world.
Who run
Who
the
run the
world?
world,
Girls. We have a lot to cover today, and we're going to be doing this every single Thursday at 4:00, and we'll be taking some of your questions live, and we're going to have amazing, influential women that have just paved the now I can't speak. Have paved the way for many of us, and we are inspired by them every single day. And today we're going to have on the show icons, in my opinion, Tori Spelling and Jenny Garth of Beverly Hills 90210, which is just like the most iconic show ever. They're going to be joining us later. And before that, we're going to have one of your good friends, Patty. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Marisa?
Yeah. She's one of my best friends, Marisa Lopez. She is a boss.
Mm-hmm.
She's co-owner of La Guelaguetza, one of the best restaurants in the entire country. Oaxacan food, which is delicious and just rich, not just in its flavors, but in history. And she is also an author. And oh my God, I'm sorry, my son.
I can hear him.
Work from home, baby.
He is also a co-host with her sister,
Yes.
Paulina Lopez, and they both do Super Mamas, which is an awesome podcast that reflects on motherhood, on being a boss while you're mothering, and all that comes with being a mom.
You know what I love about I feel like this month, because a lot of people are posting different things on social just because it is Women's History Month. And like there was this woman who posted this meme or whatever, and she runs her own business. She's married and she has 2 kids. And she was like, everybody, the first question I get asked is, how do you balance it all, being a mom and having a career? And she said, my husband, guess how many times my husband's been asked that question?
Right.
0.
Mm-hmm.
0. And so it's just so interesting because I feel like we as women have come so far, and it's in such a short amount of time. Do you know what I mean? Like it's literally in our lifetime that we couldn't, sign a mortgage or anything, and it's kind of important to keep pushing the conversation, having these conversations and like sharing our stories, because that's how we keep going further.
And
But
speaking,
you know what?
Oh, go ahead.
I actually don't mind being asked that question, because I actually want people to know that I am juggling it, that it is difficult, that that not only am I raising 2 kids, I'm also trying to find my way through, me and do the things that I love in my career and me, self-care at the same time too, being a mother, being a partner, being a friend, a daughter, a business partner, a partner. I am juggling all of it and I'm making it work. So, I actually don't mind being asked that question, because I want people to know that women especially mothers, we're making it happen while we're juggling a million things at once.
Yeah.
That's interesting you say that, because I think I'm the opposite. I try to hide the fact that it's difficult, and I almost try to make it seem like it's easy sometimes, because I feel like that's like this pressure that society has put on us to kind of just like, I don't want to look like I'm complaining. I don't want to look like I'm a burden. I don't even, like with this pregnancy, I'm worried about letting people down at work. And I'm like, it's like, I feel like I try to hide all of that emotion, and maybe I shouldn't.
No, and I think many of us women do. We do hide it, because we're expected to be 100% at work and then also 100% at home. You can't you can drop a ball, because you drop a ball, you can lose your job, and then you drop a ball, you're hurting your children.
Yeah, you're a bad mom.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Ruby?
Oh, no, I was going to say, do you think you learned that from your mom? How you said you don't want to show that you maybe do struggle sometimes with motherhood?
Yeah.
Because she hid it from the rest of the world, but like she complained to us. So like, I think like we knew, like she told us how much everything sucked. But like, as soon as like, family or relatives or people came over to the house, it was like, we hid it.
Yeah.
Smooth sailing in here. There's no drama here. I got it all under control.
But like, 20 minutes before, she was like threatening us with the chancla and like telling us, to pick up our mess and this and that.
Yeah.
Totally. I think that since this is the first one that we're going to be doing for this month, we should go around and not like introduce ourselves, but I guess kind of give the viewers and everyone who's watching right now a glimpse into how we got to where we're at in our careers, because everybody's path is so different. So do any of you guys want to start?
Why don't you start? Okay, go Ruby. You go, Ruby.
Go,
Me?
Ruby.
Me?
Yes, the young one. Initiation. You go first.
No pressure. Where did I start? So initially, I never thought I would get into radio. I always loved music, but I never like grew up thinking like I'm going to be on the radio. And then in college, I took a radio class, and I just so happened to like it. And I had to do an internship, and I ended up in Riverside at KGGI. And then so I did that internship. I did like 2 internships there. And then I got hired as a street team, did a board hopping there. Then I got an opportunity to work here in LA as a producer for Jesse. And after that, I did that for a couple years. And this is all like within the past 7 years, probably. And then I got an opportunity to be back on air in Riverside. And then I got an opportunity to be on air here at KIIS. So that's kind of been my path, which I know is a little different. But I think one thing I learned about radio is everyone's career path is so different. Like there's similarities, but everyone's is so different. Like you can't really tell someone like, oh, do this, do that. Or, it's like everyone's path is so unique to them. And it's like, honestly, I think that's what makes it cool, because you just never know where you might end up, like me, so.
Exactly. And you're very good at what you do.
Yeah, we love you, Ruby.
You don't make me cry. Thank you.
Girl. It's been a crying day for sure.
No,
Go, Tanya.
You want me to go?
Sure.
Am I glitching? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. I can see you.
Okay. So I honestly, I went to school in Arizona, and I didn't really know anybody in like the LA world. And so I made these like little shoes I bought them from Payless, and I put stickers of like adjectives that describe my personality with a business card attached to it, and like wrapped it up and said, just trying to get my foot in the door. And I sent them to like Billboard, MTV, like at Rolling Stone, Tim Martinez at KIIS FM. And that's kind of how I like got my foot in the door at KIIS. So Tim hired me part-time as a street teamer, and I was doing part-time for about a year, and I was like, I'm really ready for full-time. And so I applied for the on-air with Ryan Seacrest. It was like a full-time blogger, and it was like all the criteria was, comfortable with red carpets, video editing, like all these things that I'd never done before. And I was just like, bloop, and like sent in my application, thought no way in hell I would ever get it. And like they kept calling me back because it was like one of those things where like they like whittled it down or whatever. And it was like down to me and one other girl. And I was just like, is this like actually happening? And then I got the job. So I started full time on the morning show. And then that was as a producer blogger role. And then when Ellen K left to, when she got her own morning show and they brought in Sisney, they made me on air as well, which is something I had not ever thought of and was like, felt like a fish out of water, didn't know how to swim. And I was like, how do I do a commercial? And Sisney was like, let me sit you down. It's very easy. I can help you. So it was like a whirlwind, but it was like the craziest experience. And it all happened like after I went through a really bad breakup and I thought I was going to be moving to a different state. And like my life just totally took a turn. So here I am now.
Thriving.
And now you're hosting those red carpets.
That's true. Yeah, now I do. I get to do some fun on camera stuff with E, and that's really fun and different too because it's on. It's on. I guess our morning show is recorded, but it's different.
No, doing TV is like completely different.
Yeah, so that was also like a big challenge and a different thing. So it's been cool. It's like everything's just kind of fallen into place, and I would never have expected any of it.
And Patty,
story.
Mine is a long story, but I'll make it really quick. I'll give you the elevator version. I started at 16 years old. I was still in high school. I drove up to KIIS FM asking for tickets to see NSYNC.
Respect.
Yeah, best band in the world. And we ditched school. Me and my girlfriends. We drove up here. The producer asked us to come into the studio where. Very similar to where Ruby is right now. And we were live on the air. We got those tickets and I never left. It's been a very long time. Lots of
they're like, ma'am, you were just supposed to pick up the tickets and
yeah, and I never left. I started interning while in high school, I was a senior in high school. And I even while going to college, oh my God, my kids are screaming.
I don't even hear kids screaming anymore. It's just natural to me.
And I've been there since, and it's crazy. I never imagined I'd have the longest relationship that I have with KIIS FM. It's been the longest relationship I've ever had with anything or anyone.
I love it.
What about you?
I started interning for a radio station in San Diego at the age of 19. And it was 2004, and it was normal stuff, street team. I eventually started learning the boards and essentially just working for free and just doing anything that anybody asked me to do. I just say yes. And I was going to school at the same time. So that was like my life. Like I never did a sorority or anything like that. And so I just like the radio station was like my sorority. Like I lived and breathed the radio station. I was just, if I wasn't in class, I was at the station or I was at an event. And so I did that for a few years. I got on air on a country station, and then I got on air on the top 40 station, which is Channel 933 in San Diego, which is equivalent to the KIIS FM here. And there was an opportunity to get a Sunday night shift on KIIS FM, and then I auditioned for it and didn't hear anything for weeks. And I just assumed like it was just another audition that I failed at. And everybody would just be like, oh, yeah, you have a lot of potential, but you're just really green. Like, you're really not quite there yet. You're not ready yet. And you're not this. You're not that. I wasn't old enough. It was just all, the excuses of basically that I didn't have any experience, which I technically didn't. So I get it. And I just thought that the KIIS FM job was like, okay, it's not happening. 3 weeks, maybe even a month later. And it was right before Christmas. I was like, this is for sure isn't happening because it's like beginning of December at this point. I get a call from Lisa Marie. And she was just like, hi, we'd like to have you come and meet our program director, John, and our music director, Julie Pilot. And that was it. And I met them. They hired me. I did Sunday nights for like 4 months. And then there was an opportunity for middays. Did that. Got hired for middays and did that for 8 years. And occasionally filled in for Ellen K whenever she took vacation. And in 2015, officially became Ryan's co-host and part of the morning show. And that's when like the dynamic of what On Air with Ryan Seacrest completely changed to what it is now. Like And I think it's so awesome how it's evolved, because before it was just kind of like Ryan and Ellen as like the two main mics, and like producers would chime in here and there. But like, I feel like when I came in, it was just like really changed by having like Tanya and Patty now like officially on the mic as well. Like it was just a really cool, almost like this, like it's just like it's more of a conversation always every morning. And it's great because there's so many
like
different
family.
opinions.
Like it actually like really feels like a family vibe versus like, I don't know, like talky vibe or like news vibe, you know what I mean?
And there's just more opinions, because if it's just like two people, then it's just that person's opinion or the other person's. But it's like here, it's usually like not all four of us will ever agree on something. And so I think it makes for better conversation and better radio personally. And I think it's so cool. And I think it's awesome that Ryan is choosing to work with 3 women on the air every single day and have all of our different opinions. That says a lot about him as well.
It does. Because he could very well be like, no, it's my show. Like I should be, mostly me, but it's like not. It's like a big hodgepodge. But
he gives us all of our platforms all the time. And it's crazy. Like, you know, that he makes us feel so comfortable to be able to share all of our experience. I mean, we've all cried on the air multiple times.
And also he like makes it okay for us if we don't want to share. Like I remember, I mean, you guys obviously know, like I went through a really bad breakup and I was really struggling because we had to go on the air the next day. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like I called him just bawling because I was just like, I can't talk about it. Like I just can't, like I will lose it. And he was just like, it's totally fine. Like I'll make you laugh. It's all good. Like he was so supportive. And that was like so nice. You know what I mean? Because it like genuinely felt like family. Like he like actually cared. I wasn't like a coworker. I was like family, you know?
Yeah.
Friend. Yeah.
And that's how he's always been. Even like with me telling him I'm pregnant, you know, I'm just like, don't be mad, I'm going to leave you. Like, and it's like so supportive. What do you need? You let me know. If you don't feel good, you let me know. Like, blah, blah, blah. Anything. So those are our, I guess, very, very short version of stories of how we got to where we're at.
I know, but you know what I think the interesting thing is, and what's important, like for people to hear too, is like there were many doors slammed like in all of our faces. Do you know what I mean? Like there were a lot of naysayers. Like even still today, like I mean, obviously when things were open, we were in the middle of a pandemic, but I would, you know, audition to do different shows and different things. And, you know, you get told you're to this or you're to that, or, you know, and it doesn't work out. And like, it's okay when it doesn't work out and somebody else gets the gig because that wasn't your gig. You know what I mean? And it's important to also root for that. Like, don't not root for other women that get the gig because that just wasn't your path. Your path is going to go somewhere different, you know? And I think that's like really important because I think it's really easy. Like if you're going for something and you're really excited about it and they give it to somebody else to be kind of bitter. But at the end of the day, like the path that is for you is complete. It's even better than what you thought. And it's going to come, you know what I mean? And so it's just always root for other women because we just have to keep pulling each other up and make more space.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, speaking of space, we have Marisa Lopez.
She's here, right? Yay!
Yes.
We should bring her in.
I'm here.
Ahí estás.
Oh, cute lipstick.
Hi.
Los Angeles royalty up in here.
Oh, thank you. Oh, look who's talking. It's actually, as I was putting this lipstick on, I thought I'm going to give a shout out to the woman who makes this lipstick because it's Latina owned. It's called Vide Cosmetics, and this is the color Cumbia. I get asked about this lipstick so much.
Wait, who makes that?
Vide Cosmetics.
Girl.
Same one?
Same.
Oh, really?
I'm just going to give a shout out because like, this lipstick is like the one I get commented on the most. Also,
it's so good.
Me bañé hoy, but like you put on lipstick and like you're like ready to go.
Yeah, dresses you up instantly.
It's like Zoom live. It's like just put on lipstick and you look fine.
Thank you for joining us. I was just telling them that you
are having me.
Our besties. I appreciate you taking your time.
I love you and admire you, and I will do anything for you.
Oh, I love you.
I could marry you.
You are a boss, and we wanted to talk to you because you are a boss.
I would marry
her. Everything. You're the co-owner of one of the most incredible restaurants in the country, La Guelaguetza, which is, we're very lucky to have it here in LA. And you are an author. You are an activist, a speaker. You are Oaxaqueña. You also have a podcast, and then you also you're the CEO of your home with 2 little ones. You just gave birth to a baby girl, which you had little Eduardo for 5 years, right, before Agustina came along. And I want to know, and I think maybe Cindy can also add to this, like, what's the difference between raising a boy and then now you have a little girl, and did the world change for you, like the way you view it?
So 2 things. I don't know if this is gonna live forever. My son's gonna hear this one day, but when my son was born, I just had this, like, I'm like in love, like I could stare at him all day. Like I just felt like he was like, not like my little boyfriend, but like my little boyfriend, right? Like forever.
Yeah.
And
I
this
get it.
feeling like I'm going to take care of you for the rest of my life. Like I'm going to take care of you, and like nunca te va a faltar nada. Like, you're it for me. When I had my daughter, it was sort of like, number one, I'll talk about like the second part first, but the first part was like, girl, like, you don't need me. Like, you're going to be good. Like, you don't need to be taken care of. Like, I'm not worried about you. Like, you got this life thing figured out. Like, you got this. Like, you're strong, independent. And she's like a day old. I'm like, if anything, like, you're probably going to end up taking care of your brother, but that's going to be okay. Like, just like automatic, like putting all these expectations on her. Just like, I don't know. It was just so weird. Like, I just felt like, you're good, girl. Like,
is that how you feel, Cecily, with Asa?
It's so funny. Yeah, it's like I am in love with my son, just like Bricia was describing, because like when he was like a baby, like they're babies, they're just blobs, like they don't do anything. Yeah. I just like kiss his face, and just like I just loved kissing him so much, and even to the point where Michael was like, "That's weird. Can you like lay off?" And I was just like, "I know what it is." And my daughter has had this like strength to her from the moment that she was born, like even little things like just like holding her body stiff like this at like 1 month old, that gave me that same exact feeling. Like, I don't need to worry about you. Like, you're going to rule the world. Like,
right. Like, it's so weird.
I don't know
like,
that. Yeah.
Moms, I'm just like, and like, don't get me wrong. Like, I kissed her and I'm in love with her too, but it was like a feeling of like, girl, you're good. Like, I don't have to worry about you. Like, you got this. And with my son, it was like, I have to take care of you for the rest. And then to answer the second part, I had this sort of coming to Jesus moment to where, like, all of a sudden I felt like I needed to be a better woman for her. Like, there was this like looking at myself in the mirror, like naked, and seeing like, okay, Brisa, like, it's been 36 years. Well, 35 when she was born. And, or 36, I was already 36. Like, it's been 36 years, all this shit, like a baggage, like, take responsibility. Like, your daughter needs the best you, and for the rest of her life. So like, I started taking care of my body a lot more, respecting my body, like really like coming to terms with understanding my worth, believing, like just, I've always been like very Oprah, Tony Robbins, like, let's rule the world. Like, like
same.
I have like a stack of books of self-help, like this big, you know what I mean?
I'm
like
constantly reading a self-help book. Like, literally, I have a constant rotation.
Brené Brown, like anything you can think of. But like, I feel like when I had my daughter, it was like on steroids. Like, yeah, all the things that like, I stopped drinking. Like, I'm going on this, like, I started this like journey of like being sober. Like, it was just all these things that like, the idea of seeing my daughter seeing me drunk just didn't really register in my mind. Like, I was just like, my daughter can never, like, no, like, it's like, so it just, when it was like my son, I was kind of like, you're fine. Like, I always wanted to be the best me to be a mom for him, but like, I just felt like, just like an even bigger responsibility. And I think for me is like, how do I help you believe in yourself? Or how do I like how can you grow up like believing in yourself? Since like, how can you grow up like understanding your worth? How can you believe loving you when you look in the mirror, believing you're beautiful?
I know.
And I'm like, the only way that can happen is I believe it. If I do it, if I look in the mirror and say I'm beautiful, if I believe in myself, and I can fake that. Kids can see through that. And it was like, well, like what have been the things that have stopped you? My fear, my insecurities, my hurt inside, like the hurt that, you know, you felt as a kid, and, you know, alcohol, you know, things like that. And I just felt like, you know what, like it's time for me to just step into the new me.
That is incredible, because everything that you were saying is like exactly what I feel too. And I'm like, how do I put it into words? And I think that it's so for us having to have children and like seeing that is one thing. And look at someone like Tanya. You don't have kids, but you love yourself more than I don't know anybody else who appreciates their body and like the person that they are more than you do. And like, where do you find that strength to care so much now, that like without having like the responsibility to, I feel?
For me?
Yeah.
I think because I've always like, I hit a point in my life where I was always fixated on just like all the negative qualities about like my body, or like I have this little pooch above my, like, you know, everybody, all these things, I just like could never get it right. And I like hit this breaking point of just like, I'm so sick of this. And I'm like, I want to take care of myself and I want to be like the best version of me for myself. But like, I need to let go of like this like perfect body or this perfect whatever. And I honestly do it through these books because I'm like, I constantly want to be like evolving. I don't want to be the same person today that I was yesterday, because I want to be the best version of myself for what I'm going to be bringing into my life, for like my future partner, for my future kids. Like I want to just keep being the best version of myself and just putting it all into me so that I can be that for the person that I end up with and for my family one day, you know, because I know it's going to happen. It's just like getting there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Tanya is such a dreamer, in the sense of, you know, she's always very hopeful, and that's why we love her so much. And, you know, one of the things that I admire about you, Bricia, is that you've always, in everything that you do, whether it's your personal life or your business life, you always carry your identity as a Mexican American, Latina, Oaxaqueña with you. And I think that's really, you know, and sometimes I can say that for many of us, Latina, growing up in LA, sometimes that could be a challenge because we're afraid to show that to the world.
Right.
Because we're afraid that, you know, we will be not seen as American.
Yeah.
And that took me a lot of years for me to come to terms with. That I couldn't achieve what I wanted to be. I couldn't be who I wanted to be without first loving who I really am. And you've done it so effortlessly. And I know there's so many women listening right now that can, you know, feel the same way. And, you know, was this something that you've always carried with you, or was it something that you had to learn about yourself, to learn to love that part of you?
I've always, thank you for saying that. And I feel like the same way about you, because I think like there's no one that does better like Mexican Americanism than Patty Rodriguez in Los Angeles. But I think for me, gosh, it's such a just like a complex question, because so I was born in Oaxaca. I moved here when I was 10 years old. I had zero English, and I was transplanted from Oaxaca, which is like this, you know, very, you know, cultural region of Mexico, to LA. And my mom would drive us an hour to school to the Palisades, which is like the most non-Latino area of LA.
Yeah.
So like, I remember the first time I saw like a girl with like blue eyes and blonde hair, like live, like I was just like
Live.
Well, yeah, because I'd never really like seen someone with blonde hair and blue eyes, like live, like so close to me before. I mean, like legit, I'm from Oaxaca, from like a people. And there was tourists that would come by, but like a person like my size, you know. And I was just like, oh my God, it's like real Barbies. Like, that's like the first thing that came to my mind. And I love Barbies. And I was just like, that's like, and that really, when you don't look like that, it could really
Mhm.
mess with a girl's self-esteem, right? If you don't have like your self-worth planted, right? But like a 10-year-old,
And
like,
who does at 10?
right? Like a 10-year-old, like, how do you, who's been, who's grown up in a, indigenous like world, like how, right? So it was like a bit, but at the same time, outside of school, I was immersed in my culture, my restaurant, my mom, my parents, we followed every custom, Dia de los Muertos, like all, like that's full of my life, right? So I found like my sense of worth through food and through sharing like my food with people. And I realized that just people like loved it. And I think like that's why I love what I do so much, because I think food just brings people together. Food allows people to kind of find similarities and, acceptance. And it's so much acceptance in someone's culture, right? So I think that allowed me to sort of like kind of find a little bit of worth. But I think like my worth, like when I really kind of came to terms with like loving like me, was more like towards college years. I think in college something happened to where I found myself, so I went to an all-girls college, and I surrounded myself, and I found myself with all these Latina women who were just like studying, had dreams, like just so many things that I had in common with them, that I think so much more of like commonality and community. And I think like that's really when I just thought like, I don't need to pretend to be anyone else. I mean, obviously I think I carry that through my 20s, and I think like the idea of me not having to pretend to be anyone else, like it just had like reached me in my 30s finally. But I think like that journey it really started in my 20s, when I started like meeting more girlfriends who were like around my age, who like looked like me and who were doing things, and and me understanding I don't need to be anyone but myself. And again, it's like a lifelong journey. I think I'm still like learning. Like I said, when my daughter came, I was just like, wow, I really haven't gotten to where I need to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really like been, I think, the journey that I was on. And I think that, and again, that's why I love what I do, and I love food, and I love just, I love traveling back to where I'm from in Oaxaca and bringing all these things together. And I think the more I share that, the more I can I can reach one girl that says like, you know what, that girl's pretty cool. I my culture too.
You know what I wanted to ask you is when you, I'm gonna like when you decided that you wanted to create and start La Guelaguetza, where was it like a dream? Did it, like when you were going through that process, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are listening that maybe want to start their own business or have their own, whatever it is. And like, maybe you could speak on some of the challenges that you faced and overcame, or like things that people might not even realize, come when you want to start your own business.
Yeah, for sure. So Guelaguetza, the restaurant, was started by my parents in 1994. My parents retired. They live in Oaxaca now. The restaurant was, my siblings and I, my sister, my brother and I, we took it over about 8 years ago. So and since then we've launched 3 other businesses together as a family, my brother, my sister, and I think the challenges are the same. I think a lot of people think that, oh, well, you had a head start, like your parents did this for you and handed it over for you. And I think that's like a lot, it's just like a misconception, because when my parents like handed us the business, number one, it wasn't a handed, like we actually bought it. And number two, they handed us a business that was like on the brink of bankruptcy. Like 2 years later, we were still getting like bills. I mean, we were like at that negative. It was such, it was right after the economic recession. It was more like my dad would always tell us, you guys won. Like it was like, you guys won a prize, and the prize was a lion. So it's like, here, how pretty this lion, come see it. Let's touch it. But like that, you got to take care of this lion.
Yeah, not trained.
Right, and train it and like take care of this wild animal. And that really what it was like. The challenge that I faced was really the team that was left behind had zero respect for my sister and I, because everything was like, well, when your dad comes, or your brother. And it was blatant, like right in my face. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I'll wait till your dad comes. And it wasn't until we cleaned house that they were just like, whoa. And it's so funny because like now walking to the restaurant and like, I'm the one people are most like, not afraid of because they're like, and I just look back and I think like, I remember when like no one cared about me here. Whenever it was just like, ay, pobre niña, like it's la hija, like she's the daughter of. And like, I remember one customer would one time made me cry, like legit made me cry because he would come in, he was like running late to a concert. Like, it's not my fault you didn't make reservations, dude. Like, number one. And he just wanted to get seated and he screamed at me like, he was like, you're not the owner. I didn't talk to your manager. Like, if you're the owner, that means your dad probably like that in front of people. And I remember I was so angry that I just cried and I just walked away. And I was even angry at the fact that he got to me and that I cried. But yeah, just so many of those things that I think that, you know, and I would call my dad and be like, they just don't respect me. And he would just tell me, you know, it's not because you're a woman, it's because you just need to learn how to earn respect. And it takes time and it takes, ¿cómo se dice? Rapport? Is that the word? Rapport?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like build up your rapport.
Yeah. And it just takes time. And I remember like when I used to use that like woman card, my dad would just absolutely shut it down. Like he never allowed me to be like, it's because I'm a girl. Like never. I will say though, I got away with so much shit like during high school with my dad, and I would just cry and like done.
Yeah. We get away with a lot of stuff when we were teenagers, crying to daddy.
Here's I'm done.
Well, we've all been to your restaurant and love it. I know, Ruby, you spent your birthday there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that you and Patty were friends. This was like a few years ago, but the best mole ever, and me and my sisters always buy it. And the best food, best environment, super authentic. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan and so much respect for you as a boss. I know a lot of times people say like a CEO or a she, or what do they say?
She's three, CEO, there's
girl boss.
But it's like, no, you're a boss. Like you are
right.
a boss. And I have so much admiration for that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to do like a shameless plug, but that's one of the businesses that we launched. My siblings and I, we actually are, you know, our food products, we did like a direct to consumer site and like
Smart.
Through this past year, it's just been, you know, it's really has helped so much because, you know, we were shut down and it has really like allowed us to just focus on that. We've always really wanted to like grow that side of the business and we're doing it. And it's just so much fun working with my siblings too, my sister, my best friend, my brother, who's also my best friend. And it's like, it's awesome. So thank you.
I
and
love
it. When I see people like, you know, out and they tell me, oh my God, I love that restaurant. And people I don't know because I'm like, oh, you're telling me the truth because you're not like my friend.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us, Marisa. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you.
No, I love you. And I love you guys. I'm such a fan. And Patty, again, like if I could marry you, I totally would. Unfortunately, otherwise I will propose.
I love you.
I feel like if you and I would get married though, like it'd be over.
Oh, it wouldn't work out. I love you.
We love you. Take care.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
And we're going to go right now to, we actually sat down with Tori Spelling and Jenny Garth a little earlier this morning because of our schedules. We couldn't do it live, but we were able to catch up with them. Live. We were able to catch up with them earlier today, Ruby and I. So we're going to go to that next and we'll see you guys next week.
Oh, yes. That would be so fast.
I know.
Love you guys.
History Month. So we are celebrating influential women all month long here on KIIS FM. And especially on Thursdays, we're doing this live segment. And today, you guys, I'm so excited to have Jenny Garth and Tori Spelling joining us. And of course, Ruby.
Hi.
And
Hi.
we wanted to have you on. We actually had a bunch of meetings before this of thinking of women that are in our lives that are influential, that make an impact, that speak their mind, and you two came to mind instantly. So welcome.
Thank you for having us. We're so happy to be on your show supporting you.
So obviously, you know, we do the podcast together, 90210 OMG, recapping 90210 episodes. But I think just to kind of give a little backstory and see how your career kind of was laid out from the very beginning, could you kind of guide us through what it was like getting started in this entertainment industry that was, I would assume, full of a lot of men back in the day, way more than now, male influenced world. So what was that like for you two?
I mean, yeah, there were a lot of men everywhere, definitely. I think we had similar experiences, but while our experiences were similar, they were really different. Because Tori, you grew up in the industry kind of, so
yeah, I didn't know any different. I was kind of born into it. So I grew up with that kind of influence and, a lot of male driven power, like all week and weekend long. Like my dad, obviously was a powerhouse producer, and he always had actors and other producers and network people over. So it was a very male driven business at the time. And I remember just growing up in that, just wanting so bad to have a voice in it.
Look at you now.
Look at us.
I think that for me, I was very young and naive and didn't question the system whatsoever. I was just like, I felt like I fell off of a bus and like landed in Hollywood, and I was just kind of thrown into this world. And for me, that's just the way it worked. The men were the producers, the men were the directors, the men were the managers, the men were the agents. And I didn't think about it really,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But as young girls, as actresses on a hit show, we didn't know what we were feeling. We knew we felt we had a place, right? Like we were pretty, we were sexy. That was our role. We were supposed to be. You giggled. You wanted the men to like you, like.
And that's how you thought, like.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, unfortunately,
I know
that's kind of the messaging that we got, in that environment, was to look good and to act good and, stay in our lane.
Yeah. Don't be too strong. Because that's not
because people will think you're
be feminine.
You don't want to come across as like a people don't want to have to deal with.
Right. Men are strong when they voice their opinions at the time. Women are. It was, that was it.
Is there something you wish you knew when you were starting off your career, like in the industry in Hollywood, something that you wish you knew initially that you learned down the line?
Yeah, I wish I knew I didn't have to do whatever they told me to do. I wish I knew that I didn't just have to be a puppet on their strings. And I wish I knew that my opinion and my voice mattered. But I didn't know that as a young girl whatsoever in this big industry, this big world that we were living in.
Yeah, we didn't have much value. Our self-worth. Women are so different now. Like our daughters are different even. Like it's just a different time. And it's so great to see that at a young age, they know they can be themselves and speak their mind. And I feel like we didn't know that was okay back then.
That's so crazy. What do you tell your daughters growing up right now? Because I know that they're teenagers. Well, yours are a little bit older, Jenny, but you still have teenage daughters. And so what advice do you give them when it comes to navigating, especially in a very social media influenced world?
I mean, it's daily for me. With my youngest, who's 14, just trying to guide her through it, because it is such a treacherous landscape, with all the different platforms and the different pressures that are on young people now. As far as social media, and in a way very similar to what Tori and I experienced in our own way, they still are sort of taught you have to look a certain way. You have to look like this popular TikToker, or you want your lips to look like this girl's, or, you know, you want to buy this product because so-and-so is buying it. You know, they're still being spoon-fed what they are supposed to be. But so it's a challenge to combat that and sort of show them the other side of the spectrum, because they get so wrapped up in that narrative. And I work really hard with my girls, and I always have to just instill in them their voice matters. They have worth, and they can make their own decisions, and always be a leader, don't be a follower.
It's interesting, when we were young, it was more like male dominated, and it was what men thought we should be and look like. And now it's female dominated, what other females think you should look like and be.
Wow.
So you're right.
Yeah, like
it is the same thing, but it's just led from a different perspective. But definitely, I mean, I hear myself all the time telling my girls, like, stand up for yourself, you know, don't be a follower, do what you want to do. And then I have to say, like, I always say to them, but I was there once and I didn't do it. Like, I couldn't stand up for myself. So I understand that it's a difficult road to navigate. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to slip up, but just all try to do the best you can.
Yeah, I find myself telling my girls sometimes, just the other day, like, you have access through me, through like my experiences and what I've learned. You have access that I never had to information and knowledge. So you're so far ahead of the game, like compared to where I was when I was your age. They're so much more evolved and so much more savvy and self-confident. But like I said, at the same time, it's still something you have to keep supporting them through, because it's really, really hard out there for a young girl to figure out who they are.
Oh, go ahead, Ruby.
I was going to say, how do you guys balance being moms, work? Like, what do you do for self-care?
You're like, what's that now?
I'll let Jen take that one.
I mean, I'm in a position where I have the opportunity to have a little more time than a lot of moms, just because I have to share custody of my girls with their dad. So I do a lot of like self-work, I'm always trying to get better, be better, understand things differently, look at it from a different perspective. And for me, taking care of my mind and how strong it is self-care. I'm not a big one to like go to the spa or get a massage. I more. Those are like little rewards that I don't give myself very often, because I think I need to be productive all the time. You know, like I've got to be doing something. And if I'm not doing something, then somehow I'm failing in someone's world. And so it's really, really hard for me to sit still and not do something. So
isn't that crazy that you feel that? Like that, I don't know if it's as women, we feel those pressures. Like, do guys feel that way? Like,
they do not. You see them like chill out and just watch like a football game or something. We can't do that. We're like, what else do we need to get done?
Totally.
I literally have to force myself to sit down on the couch and like watch the Golf Channel with my husband and seem interested in it. And like
the Golf Channel. Oh.
just to prove I can sit down, I can relax. Look at me. Ooh, this is nice.
In your head, you're like, I could be doing so many other things than this.
And the whole time she's just like taking awkward selfies of him and her on the couch.
Where do these selfies go?
Oh boy. Yeah, it's challenging, but it's so important. It's so important to take care of yourself. But definitely one of those people, I need to practice what I preach.
I don't take me time at all. That's been a really challenging thing for me. I know I need to, but it's very difficult. I still have like major mom guilt, and having 5 young kids, I'm just like, something needs to be done for somebody. There's got to be something to be done before I can take care of myself. But you're right. Like if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of them properly.
You know
But
what's sad is I think sometimes like me coming to work is my me time. Like, and it
I think we would agree with that.
And it shouldn't be like me being in this room right now talking to you. I feel like this is my me time. And as soon as I'm done with this, I'm mom and I'm mom until they go to bed.
I mean, I think that's fine. I think your me time is whatever you need it to be and whatever you can get out of it. Like if you're getting something out of this exchange, this connection or your work or whatever it is that you do.
Well, luckily I enjoy it.
That's super valuable. Yeah. As long as you enjoy what you do, that's a good point. I don't know. I mean, you're right. Maybe me time should be a little bit more self-indulgent and like a bubble bath or something. I do that now though. I take baths all the time. I'll say I'm going to take a shower and I'll end up in the tub because you know what, standing up for that long is just really tiring. Take a bath. But I go in the bathroom and take a bath, and people are in my house anyway are really respectful of that time, and it's just sort of like refueling.
Do you take me time, Ruby?
I think that's where I'm at, trying to find the balance of just work. So I work a lot. So trying to figure out downtime of like, okay, I need to just chill. I think I can relate to you ladies in that way of like, how can we just chill and not check our phone or email or, you know, constantly be on the go.
Yeah.
What is it in a man's brain that allows them to shut off things completely, but women can never shut it off? What is it?
I feel like they are much better at compartmentalizing things. Like, this is work. These are my what my tasks are that I have to do. This is my family time. This is my watching TV time. They can keep it all so separate. Women's minds are like,
we're multitaskers.
Yeah, we see much bigger. Like, you know, everything is in our view all the time.
I think it's how we're programmed too, from, you know, we're born and when we're growing up, how we are raised compared to boys. I think that kind of sticks with us.
Yeah, like seeing our moms do so much to run the household, be in charge of the family, in many cases work a job. And I was just thinking that the other day, like women have 2 full-time jobs. That's not normal. Like people don't have maybe like 2 part-time jobs, but not 2 full-time jobs that require, you know what I mean? Like your career and your family. Those are 2 full-time jobs. Add to that self-care, add to that taking care of yourself, or, you know,
or a partner, or
a spouse or a partner. There's a lot to put on the plate.
I don't know how my mom did it. She worked full time, still managed to cook dinner for us every night. Like, I feel so guilty when I heat chicken nuggets for the kids. I'm just like, I'm tired. Like, here, dino nuggets tonight. Like,
well, at least they're dino nuggets.
Exactly. What would you say is the biggest difference from, like, we just did our podcast and we were talking about cattiness on sets. And what would you say the difference of being an actor, 30 years ago when I started versus one now? Like, is the competitiveness still there, whether it's between females or just in general? And how do you navigate through it?
I mean, we evolve, hopefully, as human beings. Like I'll speak for myself, when I was a young person on set, I can imagine, I have trouble remembering, but I can imagine the level of conflict in my own brain about the competition, about my position and my security, and do they like her more? Is she better than me? Those thoughts used to really rule my thinking, and it's super toxic and unhealthy, and it makes you show up as just like an insecure, ugly person. And I know that I probably showed up that way a lot in my past, and I'm regretful for that, but at the same time, I can't change that. It is what it is. I can't go back in time, but I feel like the most important thing is that we all do grow and we all do learn about ourselves, and hopefully are self-aware enough to look at ourselves differently as we get older. I mean, I was just on a set yesterday, and the old me might have felt competitive with someone else that was on the set, but instead I made it a point to say to her, go out of my way and say to this other actress, I think you're awesome. I just want you to know that I love you. I love what you're doing. So I just wanted to say that. And like, I do intentional things to switch my thinking, because it's imprinted in you at such a young age to feel insecure like that.
Be competitive.
It was also interesting doing BH 90210 when we did it, because we had like us now, and then we had the young crew on, like the younger kids, and we would just watch them, and they had like their own lingo. We were like, that was us. Like, that was us 30 years ago. And I remember at times we would be like, oh, we're kind of the older ones. Like, they have their own young lingo they're talking about on set. And they were so supportive of each other and didn't feel like it was catty or competitive at all. And it made me at least think like, that's nice that things have progressed, that, hopefully today it's not as competitive. But I don't know.
I had a question about the fashion from 90210. Did you ever get to keep any of the clothes or accessories? Because it was so iconic.
We were just talking about this, and we're really bummed because we auctioned it all off afterwards. And we were like, we wish we had gotten that memo, because we could have bought some of our clothes back.
It doesn't seem like we should have to buy them, though. I don't know. I kind of feel some sort of ownership to those clothes we wore.
No, we should have gotten something.
Yeah.
I have one dress, but it's because a fan bought at auction and then gave it to me at a book signing. But that's the only reason I have it.
I mean, for God's sakes, Kelly and Donna owned a clothing boutique in the show.
I know. This is so messed up.
Yeah, I think I have like one pair of Kelly's cowboy boots still in my closet that I'll never get rid of.
Which is so weird to me. Like, how
Right.
not define Kelly Taylor.
No, but she used to wear them with like the floral baby doll dresses. And,
Yeah.
And the mom jeans before they were mom jeans, A lot of cowboy boots were worn.
What kind of future do you guys want for your girls? Do you want them to follow in your footsteps in the entertainment industry or go completely the other direction?
I do not. Be real straight with you. I mean, just sitting on a set and watching, even today, what the environment does to the mind of a young girl. I wouldn't want that for my own girls.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I want my girls to do whatever they want to do. I guess if they were so inclined to try it out, I want them to know I think today, because of a lot of reality TV and everyone's Insta famous, like there's a bit of a different message that there's not as much work to put into it, because it's true nowadays. Like when we were young, you were famous for a reason if you were famous. It wasn't just because
you have a million followers.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure they put the work into it. And know it's really hard work, and you can be successful and it can be great, but it's a lot of work. It's not just glamour. But of course they want to do something else. I'd be real happy with it too.
I just have one final question, but if Ruby, you have another one, you can ask it. And then
I guess just in general, like any advice for women in the industry, whether they want to get into entertainment or start a podcast. Like, would you offer any tips, any advice?
Ooh, just follow your heart. I feel like imagine like all the times we've been told no in our careers. Like no. And we used to think that was it. You heard no and it's like it's over. And I think like, because Jen and I obviously, on the other side of the camera, we work a lot together too, creating things and producing things. And nothing would exist if we just took no. It's like we we hear no and we're like, okay, that's the first word towards yes. Like, no, now what's next?
You know who taught me that is you, Miss Thing. She taught me don't take no for an answer. And I was like, ugh, but it sounds so much easier. But it's true. Like you have to not take no for an answer and trust your instincts. That would be my most valuable advice, is to trust your instincts.
And final question, because, in honor of Women's History Month, and on Monday, it's Women's Day, who, I know you guys are inspirational to us and so many people that are watching and listening, but who inspires you? What women in your life would you say have been inspirational?
I would have to just be really lame and say Tori is an inspiration to me, because I look at her and think, I don't know how she does it all, how she, juggles such a large family and a big personal life and a career and friendships and commitments. It's a lot. And I've always thought, I have a lot of respect for her, that she does it. Like, she pulls it off. And I don't know, she's always been inspiring to me.
Can I be equally as lame and say Jenny?
I love it.
But
Bring
here's
on the cheese.
thing. No, because we really rely on each other through life. Like we always say, we're yin and yang. I mean, we have so much in common. Obviously, that's why we're best friends. But we really build up each other's weaknesses and supplement. Wait, no, that didn't come out right. Like where the other one lacks, the other one kind of steps in, and we kind of are constantly building each other up. And it's super important because we both have very different strong qualities, and together it makes a whole. And so it's really nice to have that one person that, no matter what, like, is going to have your back. So I think women just need to continue to empower each other. But truly empower each other. I hate when women say we empower each other and then they're first to like go behind each other's backs. Like, it needs to be the true, like, imagine if we all just truly, like, men don't do that. Men don't sit there and comment on each other's clothes. Like, what he's wearing. Oh my God, what was he thinking putting that on? Like, that's our innate, like, that's where we come from. We lead conversations with that. And it takes away from our empowerment. And I feel like, I hope we get to the point where we can kind of, that's part of our history as women. We're dramatic and we can be catty, but taking that little element out. So as we evolve, it like is no longer in our.
You know what? We're not dramatic or catty. I don't think instinctually. I gotta fight back on that one. I feel like I like to say, because people say you're so emotional, and they use that as a negative connotation. I feel like I always would turn it around and say, you know what I am? I'm emotionful. And I
like that.
I'm good with that. I have a lot of emotions, and I'm proud of them.
I like that too. It says a lot that you two have been friends for 30 plus years, because I think anybody who can hold that long of a relationship, and with all the ups and downs, I'm assuming you guys had, is very, it's very inspiring for many women, and hopefully some men too that are watching.
Yes, we support you too.
We support you too, and we love you. Guess we all couldn't have really truly been here without the help of a guy. So
wait, so is there a National Men's Day?
I guess.
No, that's not a thing, right?
There one every day is National Men's Day.
Yeah, they have the whole thing, the whole world. Just give us a month.
Day.
Give us a month. Give us a day.
We want 1 month. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I know your schedules are so busy. Jenny, Garth, Tori Spelling.
We love you, sis. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ruby.
Bye.
This has been KIIS FM's Women's Zoom Table. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.